Hello everybody and welcome to a Supermarket Simulator mod showcase. I have gathered together some of the best mods that I have used and put them into one video for you so you can have a look at them and see for yourselves if you would like to download them. So the first mod we're going to take a look at is the Game Boost mod. So you'll notice in the top right corner I have store level max and more money than I could ever wish to spend. This mod allows you to configure how many customers come into your store. There's a multiplier so you can have them just queuing down the road and coming in, thousands of them. You can have multiplying your store points, so you can get, instead of the 5 points you get per customer, you could have 10 points, or you could have 50 points, or 1,000 points, as many points as you want to quickly level up your store. And you can also do the same with money. So you can multiply the money. So if you put 1,000 multiplier, for example, every dollar they spend, you would get $1,000. So as you can see, it's very, very easy to get your money right up into the millions if you so wish, because you could always put a multiplier like I did of 100,000, and actually my money is currently broken. It doesn't actually change anymore. We have so much money, the game cannot compute how much money we actually have. And that only took about 10 or 15 customers to do that, and I've maximized my store level. So I will show you a video of this mod in action now, and then I will show you the config of how to set it up. So as you can see, once you've altered the frequency of how many customers come in, you actually get thousands coming in. Look at them come. And then if we get on the checkout here, as soon as somebody comes to see us, you'll see how much money we now make on them. In fact, we're making it anyway. You can see 121,000 there, 346,000 there. Because I've put this on a multiplier of 10,000. So this is how it all works. For instance, he is only spending £20.20, but if you look at the top right hand corner, there we go, and we're also getting a lot of store points as well, or we would be, but we're already max level. And that is how this mod works. So if you're unsure how to get into the config files to start with, we go to the main game folder, which is where we've been putting our mods anyway, in the BepInEx or MelonLoader. We're going to go into BepInEx. We're going to go into config, and then we're going to find Game Boost, which we have here. And all you have to do in Game Boost is change these values. So if you want more customers, for example, a value of 0.5 means the spawn time will be halved. So if you lower that, then the spawn time will get quicker and quicker and quicker. So if you put that at 0.1, you'll be getting customers through the door very, very rapid. If you want to change the multiplier for money, 2 means double. I put this to about 100,000, and you know, off one customer, I'm making so much money because it's just multiplying like crazy. So put a high number there if you want more money, and put a higher number here if you want the store points to go up as well. You could also just use this just to alter your regular game as well. So for example, if you want to put that at 1.5 and start earning a few more store points to progress the game a bit quicker. If you want to add extra income, you could maybe put that at 1.5 as well, and you'll just get that little bit more income coming through. You'll just speed up your progress without fully cheating the game. But that is how we use the Game Boost config files. The next mod we're going to discuss is the Store Customizer mod. You'll notice in front of us, we have called our supermarket Mod Showcase. We also have a blue theme in the supermarket with grey and blue shelves as well. I made a video called Decorating Our Supermarket with Mods in my playthrough series of this game. If you go and check that video out, I spent a good 10 minutes sort of going through the customizing and showing all of the options within the mod. That's basically what it does though. It allows you to customize the look and feel of your store. I will leave a link in the description to that video, and you can check it out if you're interested in that mod. For our next mod, we're going to have to go in store to check it out, and you'll notice we have real brands and real products on our shelves. Look, we've got Cadbury's Dairy Milk here, we've got some Kellogg's Cornflakes, we've got Warburton's Bread for our UK viewers, Home Pride, Silver Spoon, we've got Uncle Ben's Rice, we've got various different types of coffee, Walker's Crisps, Heinz Sauce, Nutella and Skippy Peanut Butter, we've got Haribo Star Mix over here, we've got Finish on the shelf there. We have Coca-Cola. I think we've got some Oreos. We do. We've got some Philadelphia cheese. We've got plenty of different types of beer and vodka and some Bacardi as well. You'll notice we've got Page here. This is a Dutch version of Andrex. We've got some Windex down there. So how did I get all of these real products on my shelves? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to download the Texture Replacer mod. Once you've downloaded that, you'll pop it into your BepInEx plugins. And then when you get into there, you'll have 3 folders associated with it. You have the icon folder, you'll have the texture folder, and you'll have brand names folder. When you download different texture packs, you will get things to put in these folders. So, for example, I have downloaded the USA products, Lolz UK brand pack. I've downloaded 2 different French packs, as well as a Mega Dutch pack. The reason I have downloaded so many is because I'm going for more of a UK feel in my supermarket. And through having all of these, I was able to cherry pick different products that made my supermarket feel more UK. You know, different products that we have in the UK, I was able to cherry pick the ones and get them into my game. That's because at the moment, each of these is a bit limited on the amount of products that they have available. That is growing all of the time, so eventually you will just be able to use the 1 pack. But for now, I've cherry picked my way through to try and get as many products on my shelves that are recognizable to me. But if you're from the USA, I think there's a good 30 products in that. You will recognize all of those products, so you might just want to use that. When you download the texture pack, all you need to do is open it, and then you'll have 3 things in there. You'll have icons, you'll have textures, you'll have brand names. Take the contents of each one and put them in the texture replacer mod. So basically, so you go into your texture pack, you'll grab US products, the icons, copy the contents, take them over, put them in the texture replacer icons folder, and there you go. And once you've done it all, everything will appear as you can see it in here. So that, I think, is a really, really good mod. I really enjoy seeing real products on my shelves, and it kind of just gives the whole supermarket a bit of an uplift, just to be able to see recognizable things on your shelves, and just adds that little bit of realism, which is quite nice when you're playing a simulation game. So our next mod, you may already be able to see it, is the narrow shelf mod. So we have 2 different varieties of narrow shelf here. We have the narrow shelf normal, and we have the 5-tier narrow shelf. They are 2 different mods. Basically, they just give you a narrow shelf, which is very, very handy in certain situations. Usually when you've got a smaller supermarket, if you've only just got that little bit of room for half a shelf, that is perfect. The narrow shelf, it is basically half of a normal shelf. Fits into tight spaces much easier than the big ones do. And if you've only got a few products to put on it, it's often better anyway and looks a lot better as well. You can also use them like I have here. You can have them at the end of your checkout. It's a bit like you would in real life. And at the end of each aisle as well, also like you would see in real life. So I think these are a really nice addition to your supermarket. They give you that little bit of extra customization to your supermarket, and just a bit of flexibility really in what you are doing with your shelving. You'll notice though we also have the 5-tier version, as I mentioned. It works exactly the same way as those. You can get a little bit more capacity on these, I believe I was reading, of smaller items. The only problem that you do have with these is if you try and put bottles on, they do clip through the shelf. It doesn't affect gameplay at all, but it can look a little bit messy sometimes because the products sort of bleed into each other. So be careful of putting tall things on them, but for little things like the peanut butter, Nutella, your table sauces, anything like that, salts, anything like that will go on there just fine, and will work very nicely with the 5-tier. You can also get the 5-tier shelf mod, which is just for the regular shelf. So as you can see here, we've got 5 tiers of Walker's Crisps. Again, it just gives you that extra bit of room on your shelves, that extra capacity, so you don't need to only have, say, 2 things. You might have crisps on 2 tiers. You can go 3 tiers if you want now and still have some room for something else on the bottom. It just gives you, again, that flexibility of putting things on your shelves. To go with those mods, we also have the large freezer mod. We come over here. So your normal freezers look something like this. You can only get 4 chickens on. You can only get 12 McCain's fries. That's not a lot of products to get in a freezer, and as you can see, it only looks half full at any one time, which I've always found a little bit annoying, particularly the chickens, because you can only get 4 in. Well, with the large freezers mod, you can now get 8, or as we've got 7 because we're one short, but you can now get 8 in here, and you can get 8 in here as well, so you'll have 16 chickens in your freezers. And if you come over here to the Oreos, you can see that they're quite near to the surface as well. They really pack these in. You can get 24 in a freezer, and that's way more realistic for a chest freezer. If you were going to any supermarket and you came across a freezer like this, you wouldn't only see a handful of products in them. You'd see them right up to the top of the freezer. It had just been restocked, and that's what this mod allows you to do. So the next mod we're going to talk about is if I was to move some of these items away from here, the restockers would most likely come through and try and restock it for me. Now, there are 2 ways I've found of dealing with this. One, you can press the shelf and disable the shelf for restocking, which is another mod we've been using. This works fantastically well and is also very good if you have a spare shelf. For example, you've bought too many Oreos and you've got a spare freezer. You can't get any in your stock room, but you want to sell them off anyway. You might put them temporarily in a freezer that's got some space, but you don't want them to be restocked ever. So simply by clicking that, the restockers will not restock that. And once it is sold out, it will disappear and it'll be like it's never there. So that is a very useful mod. However, sometimes when you are rearranging your store, the restockers get a little bit confused and sometimes try and restock it anyway. Well, the next mod I'm going to display is the pause restockers mod. That stops them from doing this at all. So if we click that now, just by pressing the pause break key on our keyboard, you will see at the bottom of the screen, restockers paused will finish current job and wait. And that is exactly what they do. So if one of them was currently restocking a shelf, they would finish that. They would either throw the box away or take it back into storage, and then they would go and stand outside until we tell them to go again. So we can now take stuff off the shelves, we can move stuff around, and they will not do a thing until we tell them to. So that stops them rearranging your shelves for you in some respects, because I found in my series playthrough when I was rearranging the store, I'd be moving something somewhere, and if I'd forgotten to click shelf, no shelf, don't restock this shelf, then they would come and restock it for me, and I'd come back and think, why is that all here now? And that's because they'd been busy behind my back restocking, thinking they're doing the right thing, but they weren't. But now I can pause them, and that stops them from doing that. To show that in action, we can use our Smart Boxes mod, which is another one I'm showing off here. You come here, right-click, and that will give you any box. It will give you the correct size for the product, so you don't need to have the correct size box laying around anymore. You just have the boxes in hand, and you can refill the boxes as you wish, take it somewhere else, put it in storage, do whatever you want, and then move it around the store. And the best thing about this mod is you no longer need to go and throw your boxes away, because by pressing the T key, it just deletes the box and it is gone. So we don't have to worry about throwing boxes away anymore. We can just press T and the box disappears. That's probably the best thing about that mod. So the next mod that I'm going to be showcasing is, you might have noticed, we don't actually have a computer. There's no computer in here, and there's no computer in our storage. So where is it, I hear you ask? Well, I am using the Computer Anywhere mod. So if I press the Tab key, it will bring our computer up. Think of it like a tablet. Although we do have the desk with us and we have to walk around with this at all times, think of it like a tablet. So I can press escape and it goes away. So if we're over here and we think, oh, you know what, I could really do with ordering some more Coca-Cola, I can just press the Tab key and order some more Coca-Cola, and then it's there. I don't need to keep running backwards and forwards to the computer. If I'm getting on with something else, even if I'm working the checkout, I can bring this up. So if I'm sat in the checkout here, for example, and I'm like, well, I'm just working on, I don't really want to go over to the computer, I can just press the Tab key and bring it up and get on with what I'm doing here without actually having to leave my station, which is a bit more realistic, I would say. That you don't need to sort of go off to your computer. Where a tablet, it's a modern day thing, so why not have a tablet? So I think that works really, really well. A side note for also, if you were here and wanted to order some stock quickly, you can use the portable scanner mod, which all you have to do is click the mouse wheel on each product, and they will go into our basket for us. I don't tend to use that very much, particularly because I can now take my computer around anywhere with me, so I don't need to. But if you are a fan of that kind of thing, that is a mod for you. Going back into our computer, I'll just showcase, as we can see from the portable scanner, these have all gone in here. I will just showcase quickly the RDC Stock Manager. Again, I put this in a previous video. I made 4 must-have mods a few weeks ago, and this was one of those mods, so I won't go into detail. But if you want to see it in detail, go to that video and I'll show you it in some detail. But to cover it, basically, it tells you what your stock levels are. So it's telling me at the moment that I have 20 Cocoa Pops on the shelf, but I only have 1 in storage. It's gone red, so I might want to think about reordering that. Bread, for example, is fine. I've got plenty in storage, plenty on the shelves. I don't need to think about reordering that. If it's red, you generally need to reorder it. If it's orange, which I don't think we have any of that are orange, it means you might want to think about ordering it, but don't worry just yet. And then if it's white, it's absolutely fine. But it just gives you a rough idea of how much stock you have on your shelves, in your storage. It's a good way of keeping on top of stock. Makes the game very simple. You don't need to keep going to check your storage or checking all the shelves. You can do it all remotely. which saves a lot of time and a lot of effort and is more realistic to what you would do in real life. So that leads me on to my next mod, which you might notice at the top is Refill All. Now, if I click this button, you will notice it has now put 41 items into my cart. So it also takes away the limit. I was using briefly the no limit mod, but it clashes with the Refill All mod. So if you've got the no limit mod for your checkout, if you want to use the Refill All, you'll probably have to get rid of it, but it does the same thing anyway. It just takes it over. So we've got 41 items in our cart now, and what this has magically done is it has figured out how much room we have in our storeroom, how much we can actually get on the shelves. So it knows that we can get all of these in our storage. So it's telling me that if you order all of these, I will put all of these on the storage for you. You don't need to worry about them. They're not going to have leftovers. They're not going to be stuck outside somewhere. They're going to just go straight onto my storage. You have the room for these. So that is a very quick way of knowing what you actually need to order. Now, this works very well if you're on top of your storage. If you're not that on top of your storage, it can cost a fortune. In my series playthrough, when I first tried this, it was going to be an 18,000 bill. I couldn't afford it. So then you have to start taking things out of your basket. But if you keep on top of it sort of every morning, then it will work almost seamlessly, and generally your costs are going to be reasonably low. But play around with it. It is good, though, if you just want to have a full stock room, as we're going to do in a second. Just pressing that and it'll do all the hard work for you. Put everything in your basket. All you need to do is buy. That does lead me onto my next mod that I've also showcased before, but I'll just go over it quickly here. The Place Delivery in Storage mod. This basically places delivery in storage, as it says. You'll get a small fee for doing so. That's quite a large fee, but remember we have got 41 products. You can change that in the config, which I will show you how to do now. And the store delivery config, very, very similar to the previous config we did with the game boost there. If you go into store delivery, you'll notice that you can change the price down. So this will, for you, we're at 3, because that's its default value. I've changed this to 0.5, which means 50 pence or 50 cents. You can change that to any number you want. If you want it to be free, you can set it to 0 and you won't pay any delivery fee whatsoever into your storeroom. But you can set that number to whatever you wish, and then you will end up paying that value. But once you have changed that in the config to whatever amount you desire, all you then have to do is place delivery in storage, purchase. Once that has been done, you'll notice we don't have any boxes outside, none at all. They've all gone seamlessly into our storage in the proper places, and then the restockers will get on with putting the stuff onto our shelves. For some reason at the moment they're not using the stairs. I think that's because I'm using so many mods in this mod showcase that they have decided they're only going to walk out there for some reason. But normally they will come through here and they will restock the shelves, as you know. I will also mention there is the EZDelivery mod. I've not actually used that one personally. It was recommended to me by somebody in the comments. I've checked it out. I've not put it in this video. The only difference I can really see to that is you can have things programmed to your Z key or Z key if you are from America, and you will be able to then press that. If you're holding a box, if you press that, it will immediately transfer it into your storage. So if I was picking a box up from outside, or if I had a box in my hand in here and I wanted to put it away without going all the way into the storeroom, I can press that and it will just beam its way into there. I think that might clash with my store delivery mod and the way I'm currently playing my game, so I'm not currently using that, but I'll give a special shout out to that mod if you are interested. So now all of our stock needs are taken care of. How about some mods for helping us with cashiers? So you'll know in the base game, you can have a maximum of 4 cashiers working in your supermarket, plus yourself, making a total of 5 people. And that can sometimes be okay, but sometimes not enough. If you get to the end game, I've seen queues that go way up the aisles, and it's just, you can't keep on top of it. Well, wouldn't it be nice if you could employ more people? Well, with this mod, you can, and all you have to do is press the J key. So if I press the J key, for 150, I can employ as many cashiers as I wish. So we've got 6 here. You can have as many as you want. If you wanted 60, you can have 60. You can have as many as you want. And it is very easy to get rid of them as well. All you have to do is press the K key and that will fire them. And one by one, you can just fire them as you no longer need them. So that is a very useful mod. for having some extra cashiers. It's also a good way of hiring them as well. If, for example, you don't want to do the grind and get all the way to unlocking the cashiers, you can do this from scratch, because as I'm showing you here, we currently technically cannot hire any cashiers because we are not at the right level yet. We have not done enough checkouts, but you can do this anyway and have them in your store ready to work. So that's a very, very useful mod. The next mod is you can do the same with the Restockers. It's the More Restockers clone mod. You can clone as many Restockers as you want. If you want to have 5, you can have 5. If you want to have 55, you can have 55. It is entirely up to you. Yes, they cost a little bit of money per one, but they will all beaver away in there and take the stock through there. And you could have the whole store restocked in about a minute with 10 Restockers, whereas if you just had the traditional 3 to 4, it might take you much longer. So that is another very useful mod. All you have to do to get them is press H for hire, and you'll see one pop in there, and F for fire if you want to remove them. I will show them in action when we open the store in a second, because I don't think they've got anything to restock at the moment. I'll show them in action and show you how crazy they can get in a moment. So we are going to open the store now to show off the next mods. So for our next mod, you'll notice we're currently in pounds. That is because I have downloaded the currency changer mod. Now this mod allows you to change your currency to pounds, euros. I think Singaporean dollars is also there by default. I'll show you the config for that now. So to alter our currency in the config files, all we need to do is come into the config files once again, and we can come into change currency, and we can change the values of any coin we wish in here. You could also use this, I guess, to cheat the game as well. You could put these as a higher value. I'm not entirely sure what that would do, but as you can see here, though, it's changed the $10 bill to a £10 note. You can do the same for euros, for Singaporean dollars, Canadian dollars. All you need to do is change the values within this config file to the ones that best suit your currency. So once you've set up your config, you have the currency of your choice. So if you are making a European style supermarket, you know, if you're in France, if you're in Spain or somewhere like that, and you want to use euros, you can. If you're here in the United Kingdom, you can use pounds as well. And then you can have a bit more of a realistic feel to your supermarket. How does this look? Well, as you can see, she's going to pay with some cash here. We have all of our notes that we have here in the UK. We have a pound note for some reason instead of a pound coin, but I think that's just because of the tray and how it's laid out. But we have all of our own change that we can hand out now, which is quite nice. But everything is in pounds. And it just, if you want to have a UK supermarket, which is what I'm going to be turning mine into in my series playthrough, it just means that you've got that added bit of realism of now being able to use pounds. So now the restockers are getting busy with products. I can now show you how these are to use. So if I start hiring some, you'll see that they just get to work. We have an army of restockers. Now, yes, these do cost 150 each, so be aware of that if you're doing this without cheating your money. But as you can see, we now have an army of restockers, not limited to the 4. And this restocking is going to be kept on top of much easier than it would be if you didn't have that mod in play. I'm just going to hire another worker here to deal with that for us whilst I show you the next mod, because in 3, 2, 1, as magic as that, the lights have come on. That is because I am using the NightGlow mod. So all this does is you can set the time at which your lights come on. So if you are fed up of constantly going over there and turning the lights on, particularly if you've moved your store around and you don't find yourself over in that corner anymore, turning the lights on when it gets dark actually becomes quite annoying, having to remember to turn them on. So this mod takes away that for you. So I'm going to show you the config of how to do that now. And to change the config of NightGlow, it's not actually in the BepInEx folder for the configs, it's in MelonLoader. So if we go into MelonLoader, the MelonLoader ones are found in user data. So if we go into user data and we go into NightGlow, all you have to do is put in the time here. So for example, 6, we put it to hours to 1. Put 1 PM in there, use the 24-hour format, and your lights will come on at whichever time you put in this space just here. So make sure it looks like that, and then that mod should work just fine. So once you've set that config up, as you can see, the lights will come on at your desired time, and I think that works rather well. So our penultimate mod that I'm going to show you is the Better Cashier mod. So we're going to hire a cashier here. So you've got a bit of a queue here. Now, ordinarily, this would take one of the cashiers quite a long time to get through. But if we hire the cashier here, you'll notice they work a lot faster now. Hopefully we'll get somebody with multiple items here. Look at this. Straight through. More realistic, more similar to what the human player would be able to do. It goes through at a more realistic pace. That is much, much better than how they are in the base game. So this is the Better Cashiers mod. There is a config for this as well that I'll show you in a second. Basically, you can alter the time of how they work, but you can also allow them to do multiple items. So if somebody was buying 3 bottles of Coke, the cashier will scan it once, and if you've got this feature turned on, they will then just press ×3 like you would in real life and then just put it through. So they don't need to scan every single item anymore. I will show you the config of how to do all that right now. So if you want to alter the cashiers, you can do. So you come into here, Better Cashier, it's in the config file where all the rest of them are. Go into Better Cashier and then you can change the things here. So default value is 2 seconds. You can have this at 1. Scan time is not provided. These are just the I've just left them as they were. This is the person who made the mod. I think it works really well as it is. But this, if you wish to do the same scan products together, or scan the same products together as it says there, that's at the moment that's false. If you change that to true, then they will scan the same of each product just the one time, but then they'll put ×3 as it says here, like typing ×3 Coke instead of scanning 3 Cokes, which speeds things up a bit. And that is how you will get your better cashiers working in your supermarket, and they will be able to work at a better pace for you. So our final mod is actually not in the main bit of the game itself, it's actually in the menu. So we're going to come out, we're going to hit save, and we're going to come to the main menu. And once you get to the main menu, you'll see that this looks a little bit different to perhaps how your own looks, in that I have Create Save. That is because I am using the Better Save mod. By using this mod, I no longer need to remove my saves from the folder in which the saves are stored and replace it with a different save if I want to switch saves. I can do it all from here. If I click Load Save, you'll notice I have a selection of saves. I have my mod showcase, which we've been currently doing, and I have my series playthrough here. So if I was to click my series playthrough, as simple as that, we get to my series playthrough. It's usually called Last Resort. The Store Customizer mod seems to go across between both sets of saves for some reason, so be aware of that. If you change your name in one place, it will change it in all of them until you change it back in your specific one. But it's a good way of diving in between different games. So if you want a fully modded supermarket on one save and you want a normal playthrough on a different save, but you don't want to keep switching them out, this is a much simpler way of doing that. For instance, if we just want to head back now and get back into our mod showcase, it is as quick as that, and we're back in our mod showcase. So that is a very useful mod for going between saves. So if you are new to modding and struggling a little bit, I did make a video of how to download and install mods for Supermarket Simulator. If you go and check that video out, that should point you in the right direction. If you are still struggling, leave a comment. I'll try and help you out as much as I can to get your mods working for you. So don't feel that you're going to be overwhelmed by mods. It's actually a fairly simple process to put them in. But like I say, if you are struggling, leave a comment and I'll get back to you. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure you leave it a like. If you found this all useful as well, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you for another video very soon.